All right, I am going to get started. I I'll get started now. I wanted to share. I told you last week, for those of you who tuned in to my reel about starting a storefront, I said I would share the journey with you, and this this vulnerable moment includes that journey. And I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't share all of it, right? If I only just shared that polished, I'm starting a storefront, that wouldn't be real. So I thought I would share how my goal literally a year ago was very different from what it is now. So it's kind of crazy how life can take a turn. But as some of you might know, I have a pilot that I filmed. Um, I it was literally a year ago. So April 3rd is when we filmed it. All my life I have wanted to be on Food Network. I don't know why. I watched it. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be Jada. I wanted to have my recipes out there and share it with the world, and it was very exciting. So fast forward to last year. I am, my goodness, I'm in my upper 30s. And I've realized this is not this dream that I had, right? I'm a personal chef, great. I teach people how to cook, great. But I had this kind of standard I had for myself to have a cooking show. And so I decided, well, I'll just do it myself, right? I come home to my husband and I share that. We have lived abroad a couple times, and one time was for 6 months with my then 1 and 3-year-old, and it was in 8 different countries. And I thought, what better than to create a show from this? And so that's where A Taste for Wander came from. You can see the pilot on my channel. And I was ecstatic about this. It was beautiful. There were people placed into my life in that time that I feel like this was too strange to be coincidental. She's on track to become a producer. And I threw it out there. I was kind of beating around the bush. Hi, hey Kira. Her name's Kira Minshall, by the way. Would you be willing to help me create this pilot? She was amazing. She charged me way less than she should have. She found an amazing team, some interns, and y'all, my kitchen looked like it was a studio. It was awesome. They put anyway, long story short, I thought this is it. This is going to happen. Someone's going to watch it. Someone's going to pick it up. And crickets. Well, crickets because once it was edited, it was edited in a month, and then for 3 months I was too nervous to share it. I thought, okay, what if, a lot of what ifs, as one does. Finally, I decide I'm going to post my Taste for Wander pilot on YouTube on, I think it was September 18th, and it was in July, where I went to the Bourbon and Beyond Music Festival. It was a blast, by the way. And I met Chris Santos. Now, for those of you who don't know, Chris is a judge on Chopped. He's also a restaurateur, and he's wonderful. And you better believe I was that awkward person waving my arms in the front, Chris. And he came down after his segment, and he was so kind. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is great. Without trying to make a huge fool out of myself, I don't know, maybe I did. I shared my card. I shared my goal of my show, my cooking show. I said I was a chef. I have a business, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, awesome. Let me know how I can be helpful. And I'm like, I feel like I had this rush of adrenaline. And so in my head, I thought, this is happening. It's going to happen. Over the next month after that, he corresponded. He was so nice, by the way. At first, I didn't know if it was the bourbon or him, but it's him. He's very kind, and had some good things to say about it, and eventually sent it to his agent. And are y'all going to tell me where you're from, by the way? I want to know. He sent it to his agent, and when I followed up again for the umpteenth time, he said in a very kind way, I don't think he's seen it yet, which is, I feel like in showbiz is code for like, don't hold your breath, right? So that stunk. That was crappy. So that was a February, and I realized I was putting some reels out. I was focusing on Instagram. I was focusing on YouTube. Turns out I have a walk with a woman who I'm a neighbor with, and she was very inspiring. And she sat there and she said, Christina, you know what you should do? She didn't sat there, we were walking. She said, you need to open a storefront of some sort for people to enjoy your food. And to be honest, that was very intimidating to think about, because in my own personal chef little business, I control my hours. I know what the week is going to hold. It's very comfortable. And to think of opening a store with capital and with more expectations and having to balance a lot more responsibilities was very intimidating. But I also felt this adrenaline. Again, like, this is kind of weird. I'm going to go with it. So my, again, very supportive husband was like, yeah, duh, I've been telling you to do that. And I'm like, oops, sorry. So we go along with it. I look at real estate, and it turns out a few people kind of shared what my goal was with a guy who owns a lot of properties here in my neighborhood. And he was thinking that they both could jive together, right? Personal chef and cooking class, storefront, coffee shop. And I was pretty excited about that. Okay. So my reason of coming on here is to share that all of that was good. All of that was cute, right? I showed you the store. It's going to be great. But I also have a lot of reservations. And I'm honestly terrified. I'm terrified that I'm going to have a hard time balancing work and family. I love that I can still be a present mom and have my work. I'm terrified that there are going to be people who might be cruel and not share constructive feedback, but just mean and negative feedback just to do it. I'm terrified of bills, of what it's going to cost me and having that overhead. There's a lot on the line. And also, I feel like the whole reason I want to cook and be a chef and teach people is to have community, to build community. And it's great, right? We're on here. Maybe someone's going to eventually say hi, but the community is minimized online. And so it's my goal now to build community through food, through people learning how to cook, through people getting to enjoy the food that I prepare. So all that to say, yeah, I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that I have a lot of reservations. I could sit here and say, this is going to be so awesome. I'm so psyched. But it could also, it could flop. It could suck. And but you don't know unless you try, right? So with that, I just wanted to share this. I wanted to keep it real. If anyone has a question, happy to answer it. But also, this is my first time doing this. And so I'm okay that the number is very, very small. I appreciate you for checking in. And yeah, we'll see how this goes.